Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a brand new speed build, this time doing kind of Witch's House 2.0. So for some of you who watched one of my builds a few builds back, I did a collaboration with the lovely Miss Griffey, and together we built a kind of quirky witch's house, and it was set in the forest of Windenburg, and together we imagined that there was a kind of very nice sort of witch that lived in that house. So it was kind of a very mystical but beautiful build in the heart of Windenburg. This time, however, I wanted to kind of revisit that same sort of witches theme, but I wanted to do it much darker. This is kind of like your baddie sort of witch. Or maybe even it would be amazing for a vampire. And obviously we don't have witches in The Sims. If we were to create a witch, we could do via create a sim, but if you wanted to move in a vampire as well, this would be a great build for a vampire. So this is Black Widow Crescent. It's a 1-bed 1-bathroom build set on a 30 by 20 lot in Forgotten Hollow, and it comes in at just less than 75,000 simoleons. So it's not a starter priced home, although, you know, it is a very small home in a starter home sense. But it wasn't using any restricted packs, and there was no kind of budget with it. I just wanted to be as creative as I could and just come up with something that was really sort of very dark and spooky. So I have to say I'm really enjoying doing these Halloween themed builds at the moment, because predominantly on my channel I build a lot of suburban homes, and I always aim to build very beautiful homes that, and I always say this in the videos as well, that if you were walking past you would look over the fence and be like, wow, that's really pretty. So building these kinds of builds is a complete opposite of what I ordinarily do, and it's been so much fun to do them as well. And the other thing is that with suburban homes, a lot of them are very similar styles. You know, when you look at any style of suburban home that anyone creates, I'm pretty sure that somewhere in the world there's a house that looks just like it. Whereas building something like this is completely from imagination. It's just completely made up, and there'll be probably no house that looks anything like this, although there might be, you never know. But I like it because it just gives you the ability to just let your mind run away and see what you can come up with. So in the last build that I did, I built a kind of very raised up suburban home on the coast of Brindleton Bay, and I used lots of these little rocks at the base of the house, and I really wanted to go ahead and use them again to create sort of as if this was built up and raised up on a platform. And these little rocks are actually chairs. They're stone chairs from the outdoor retreat pack. And actually probably a couple of months ago now on Twitter, somebody sent me a screenshot. Now, what happens in The Sims in the gallery is if you download a house and you don't have the pack, it will substitute items for different items that you do have. And I'd actually used these in a lake that I created in one of the houses that I'd built, and this person sent me a screenshot, and it was just literally the lake but with a stack of wooden chairs and tables all through the middle of it. Because The Sims has substituted these stone chairs with these other chairs, so it's quite funny. So if you didn't happen to have outdoor retreat and you downloaded this, it would make for a very funny screenshot, I'm sure. Now I'm just working on the outside of the house at the moment, and the floor plan was actually very tiny, and whilst I was able to fit a staircase in the ground floor, I wasn't able to fit a staircase in the second floor. So I decided to kind of extend this balcony around the back of the house and create a staircase that went up to the third floor, which was actually where the bedroom was. And I really liked the way it looks. It just sort of fit in with this sort of very quirky vibe that the house had. So I definitely had a lot of fun playing around with different items in this game, and I used a few items from the debug menu as well, including these fruit plasma trees, which are like purple trees that are dotted around the kind of base of the house. They look absolutely beautiful at night time. They have have kind of this purple, which I'm assuming is the plasma, purple running through the trees. So again, with this house, I did have a good play around with the lighting, and at night time, it's so beautiful. It's like very, very deep red. As you can see in the lake around the bottom as well, what I actually did to create that sort of intense red tone was I used the red coloured water, but I also used one of the neon colour floor tiles, which was like this red colour, and placed that on the floor of the fountain, which gave this very, very vibrant colour. And when you actually place in a fountain or a pool, although we do have different colour water that we can play around with, if you use different kind of floor tiles and wall tiles within the pool or the fountain, it can create different colours again depending on what colour the water is. So it's good to kind of play around and experiment and see what you can come up with. I certainly didn't know that I could create a colour this vibrant in the water. It was just a trial and error thing that I happened to come across. So it's well worth just playing around. There's lots of different things that you can come up with. So the outside of this build didn't go heavy on activities and skill building items. It was really not that kind of house. Although there is space to add things in if you wanted to, depending on what kind of sim you move in. But on the inside of the house, I did go ahead and add some activities and skill building items. Now, for the interior, I kept it very dark indeed. I was imagining at this point a very gothic, vampire sort of dark vibe. Now, I didn't want it to be really messy because I know that ordinarily that kind of messy look looks really good in a house like this. And certainly I did go ahead and add in lots of cracks and cobwebs and things like that. But I did just want it to be a nice home for a vampire, you know, nice in a vampire sense. Just very dark. So I added in lots of these sort of chandeliers and lots of candles all around the place and kept with this sort of very red and black theme. Obviously the floor plan is crazy. It was really hard to work with. I wasn't entirely sure where to place anything, but if you aren't overly keen on the interior that I've done, you can always download this house unfurnished and it will take you next to no time to furnish it because it is just so small. But I did go ahead and add in a kind of living area as well as a kitchen. Managed to put a little dining table there. It was only a little 2-seater one, but enough to sit down and eat. And up here is the third floor and this is the bedroom. Now, ordinarily in speed builds, I will section off each room that I do, but with this build, I was literally jumping all over the place. So I apologise for that if it makes for a bit of confusing viewing. So like I say, it was kind of like a witch's house stroke vampire's house. Now, if you wanted to make this into a vampire's house, you could increase the amount of space that you've got because obviously you can change the bed up and add in a coffin instead. You could get rid of parts of the kitchen and where you sit down and eat because obviously you wouldn't need that if you was a vampire. So, you know, you can do whatever you like with this house and use it however you like as well. Now, the middle floor of this house actually has the bathroom and there's quite a bit of open space which ordinarily just looked like a landing. So I decided to put in a little table which had a few crystals and almost as if that was a place where they would sit and work on spells and come up with lots of crazy witchy things. But if you wanted to move all that out of the way, because obviously it's literally just for show, and add in something else, some sort of activities or skill building items or whatever it is that you want to do, then, you know, you can do that. But I put a little chair there as well. I think a bookcase might be nice there. It might be a good place to sort of sit down and read. Or you could even add in a second bedroom if you really wanted to. It just wouldn't be a room as such. But I hope you're all having a fantastic week so far. I must admit, I'm feeling pretty rubbish at the moment. I've got a really bad headache, which I've had for about a day now, which is not good. And ordinarily I don't actually get headaches, but if I do get a headache, it normally means it's a sign of illness. So I'm really hoping I don't come down with some sort of cold, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did. But that's not too good. But I hope you're all having a fantastic week and you're getting excited for Halloween if it's something that you celebrate. I know my kids absolutely love Halloween, so we're going to go and pick a load of outfits. I'm going to be looking at getting some pumpkins and doing all pumpkin carving, and I'm looking forward to it. They actually broke up from school yesterday, so we're going to be looking to get, you know, all those bits together over this next weekend. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed building it. I certainly have had a lot of fun doing these Halloween inspired or themed builds. I may do one or two before Halloween hits as well over the next sort of week or so. But if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, it would be fabulous to have you on board. And I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care. Bye.